I've said this before. The blessing of the seventh day is actually rest. Rest. So you see creation in day 1, creation in day 2, down to day 6. That represents labor, toiling. And then the seventh day is rest, is the Sabbath. I know to grow is accompanied with battle. But a battle or a struggle becomes a cause when there is no Sabbath, when there's no rest. A battle becomes a cause, or toiling becomes a cause when there's no rest. And there are different seasons in toiling. There's a reason I'm saying this, because we are already in Judah. There are different seasons in toiling. There's a visionary season, the season of planting, the season of nurturing and guarding what has been planted unto maturing, and then the season of harvesting, which what we call multiplication. Now, when I speak of rest, I'm not talking about laziness, but I'm talking about a realm where you climb into abundance and sufficiency. That's what rest is. Where vision begins to multiply itself. Where a system that has been given life begins to power itself. Now, when God rested on the 6th day, what gave him the ability to rest? He didn't rest because he had just created some things and left them like that. No, he rested because now it has become a system that can survive itself. And I sense so much in my spirit that a lot of us have been toiling, both even in our spiritual life, where we get to heights and then we crash again, and then we rise again, and then we crash again. Whatever we had, or we have with God, whatever we have with God has not reached a level where it can sustain itself. Even our physical lives and our businesses and the things we pursue as professing Christians who operate from the place of faith, there's a lot of frustration, even in the season of Judah. And that's because a lot of folks have not understood the wisdom of the Sabbath, or they are laboring under cost labor. If you go out on the street every day, you will see people that are under cost labor. You see someone standing on the road extorting money from people using his uniform, but no matter how long he does that, he can never buy a Rolls Royce. He can be doing that for the next 15 years. Collecting money every single day with his uniform. Money is trafficking through their hands, but they can never end up rich or wealthy. That's a cost labor, where you only have experiences, but you never enter into rest. This is what I'm saying very calmly, very serious. And these cost labors can actually, I didn't plan to come say this, but these cost labors can actually manifest itself in different forms. Do you know a man can even have cost labors in the area of the type of friends they always attract? It's only a certain type of unproductive people. Those are the only people that are attracted to you. Or whenever you get a job or an opportunity and your friend is placed at a privileged position where they can recommend you, they'll recommend someone else. And then they'll come and tell you that they recommended someone else for what they know you do. So yours is to hear the gist. And then when you tell them that, but I also sew clothes, why didn't you recommend me that? This your thing you are doing. Is it a serious business? Forget that thing, let's play game. You see? And you can have those kind of folks around your life. And if you don't come to the realization of what a Sabbath is, you can invest in relationships that would not bring you into rest. Course labors can actually be territorial too. A particular territory binds you to that particular environment. And if you like, travel from Lagos to Abuja, even though you move location, you would always find yourself in the same environment. It's a course labor. And a lot of people who suffer from this type of course labor, I've observed it a little, and I can tell you that a lot of people who suffer from this territorial type of course labors are mostly very talented people. Very, very talented. So they cannot stop the inspiration, but they can change the environment. If you take that person from here to UK, he will end up in Peckham, where the Igbo smokers are. So the environment must always look like the prison that person has been kept in. Even if you take that person to Germany, it's the same environment that looks like that prison. That's where that person will end up in. So we have different forms of course labors. And the moment you begin to dictate that somehow all my labors are not bringing me into rest, you now know what to begin to fight against. Have you ever seen people who are rich? They have money. When I say rich, they have money. But whenever there's an opportunity to borrow, they will still borrow, even though they don't have need of it. There's something that excites them about borrowing. Now, a lot of people that labors under this type of course labor, they are always financially productive, but their finances never does anything for them. Like, it's easy for them to see money, but somehow they are still in need of money. And then year in, year out, you find a lot of people not experiencing the Sabbath rest, where whatever you have invested in and built over time can now become a system that runs itself. Even though God had not caused it to rain, the Bible said there was still a mist that came out from the ground and watered the earth. There was still a cycle going on. A mist came from the ground and watered the earth, even though God had not caused it to rain. A system put in place to run itself. If God doesn't come for another 1 million years, this earth will still run itself. That's what I call rest. The system now leaves. The business now leaves. The idea now leaves. Do you know Mark Zuckerberg, who started Facebook or founded Facebook, is now a shareholder in Facebook? Do you know that? It's not just exclusively his now. There are people who have shares in that Facebook that he started. Where vision gets to a point where it becomes a system that can run without even the founder. Do you know the founder of is it iPhone or Apple? Do you know he's dead already? Has that affected the company? The man is dead. That's the visionary behind the Apple as a company. But the man is dead. The company is even doing better than when he was alive. A system that runs itself. Now, if a person is not intentional, and I know God is bringing this because of somebody, we're in the season of Judah, and Judah is Kairos moment. And in Kairos moments, you are given the opportunity to make life-changing decisions. Some of them may hurt the philosophies you've built your life around in the past. But that philosophy, for some of you people, that philosophy is a manifestation of mediocrity. Do you know among touts, there are those touts that are celebrity? They all did tout, but one rose to the point of stardom, wealthy enough to take care of his family. Others are carrying bottle and running around the street. What's the difference between these two people in the same thing they are doing? The difference is intentionality. One is chasing an experience. I just want to belong. The other one is chasing growth. Do you know, even in that tout business, if a tout has no vision, he will perish. I'm trying to show you that there's no system excluded from what I'm talking about. One can chase an experience, that's his own vision. Another one has a vision of growth. So when time and chance present themselves to these two people, one will find himself growing, the other one will find himself stuck. I don't know if they've told you, but God does not work magic. He sets standards. Anyone who meets the standard. For example, the ground would produce, not because you are a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu or a herbalist or a pastor or a reverend. The ground will produce because you engaged the laws of the ground. There's a law there. And that law is neutral. And this is where wisdom is tied to living. And like I told you last week, you cannot sow into the flesh and reap in the spirit. Laws guides all these things. Why am I not growing spiritually? The question is, am I doing spiritual things? It's simple. You see, these things, it's not rocket science. Principles have been laid down for each and every one of us to engage. And the one who engages all these principles by revelation, because you have an advantage, and that advantage is the revelational capacity of the spirit that you've received on account of your faith. If you engage the principles that this spirit reveals to you, guess what? You will achieve optimal result when you are compared to someone who doesn't have that revelation. They all ate, but Daniel ate something different by revelation. Results different. These are the seasons of taking charge of the systems God has put around your life. One of the things that destroys great men, as good as it may sound, Mama, is called emotions. Do you know emotions can stop you from growing? Emotions are very amazing. Any emotional great man will crash. What did I say? Any emotional great man will crash. Now, I'm not saying emotions are not a good thing. They are very beautiful thing, but they too have to come under self-control, which is the gift of the Holy Spirit. Every emotional part of the greatest mistakes I've made in my life, one day I sat down meditating and I traced it to emotion. Emotions makes you easy to manipulate. Let me tell you how Satan fights. When the Bible said, what shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his whole soul, his own soul? What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? He's teaching you the law of exchange there. To gain, you must lose. It's a must. To what? To gain, you must what? Jesus said something. He said, if you lose your life, you what? But if you keep your life, you what? To gain, you must lose. To keep, you would also lose. But look at what Jesus said. He said, as you are losing your life, because if it's to lose life, you must lose your soul. But what are you losing it for? So he said that if you lose your life for my sake. So it ties the losses to something. We're all losing our soul every day. Do you know that? The question is, what are you losing yourself to? And to keep your soul is to lose the opportunity for growth. So now watch this. The soul of every man is fragmented. Teaching you a very deep wisdom here. The soul contains your intellect, your emotions, your passion, and all that. That's what the Englishman would describe as your soul. I don't want to bore you with divine revelations of certain things. How the soul looks like an adhesive material. It's like a string. But you know, those are visions and it's not scripture, so I don't need to bore you with those things. But watch this. If Satan cannot attack your faith, he attacks your soul. Your soul is in your faith and your faith is in your soul. Now the question is, what is your faith? Because to get to the faith, you must touch the soul. Do you know you can have faith in your car? We all have faith in our car. And faith is built on knowledge. There is something we know that causes us to have faith, which gives us confidence. So we have confidence that if we start up the car, we engage the gear, the car will move. It's not strange to see a car move because you already have the knowledge that moves the car. So watch this. Let me tell you how souls are fragmented. Whenever you place value, and value is in different kinds. Whenever you place value on a thing, you're giving a part of your soul to that thing. Although that thing is external to your body, it now has a part of your life. Now imagine a man who chases worldly things. That man will be a billionaire, but he will have an emptiness nothing can fill. Because his soul is not sufficient enough to be scattered in the things he pursues. So he puts a part of his soul in his wristwatch, a part of his soul in his expensive car, expensive house, chasing different types of women, doing drugs. And all of a sudden, he will now become hollow. And all you need to do to touch that man, Joseph, is to go and touch that his car. That's all. If you touch his car, you've touched him. But he is sitting down here. But you want to touch him, go and touch that car. What shall a man or shall give in exchange for his soul? So your soul is taken from that realm where it may be difficult to touch it, and then is brought into a tangible realm where Satan is God. You can easily manipulate it. So Satan will cause that boy, that girl, to deliberately be hurting you. All of a sudden, you are now losing your prayer life. touch the soul, you touch the faith. Hope I'm not bothering you. Touch the soul. This is why, sir, before God gives you the house, he'll work something into you that before you even have the house, you would have outgrown it. I don't know how to describe it in English. And that's why one of the greatest signs of soul control is charity. Because sacrifice is actually a manifestation of soul authority. I've gone beyond what I give. Why do you feel pain when you give? It's because that thing was an idol inside you. But that pain is a circumcision. It's a circumcision. Why do you think billionaires are not interested in flashy cars? They've gone beyond that realm. They don't find value there. Why do celebrities indulge themselves in flashy cars, flashy houses, and then they show you who is squatting somewhere and you're hiding from Pampe? Why do they do that? It's because they know that thing is your God. You lost after that thing and they have it. As long as they have what you lost after, a part of your value system will go to them. So you will adore them, not because you like them, but you like what they have. Because those things are your lost. So every time in their music videos, they will show you the life you desire. Then you will worship after them. You will go after them. I love this artist. You don't love him. You love that life. And you love it because you don't have it. The artist doesn't love himself. He's dealing with depression. See people who are willing to kill themselves for an artist that doesn't know them. That's because what? They lost after that life. So they will lose their soul to the control of those artists. And they will look at that artist as a reflection of the possibilities they desire. Remember, I told you that songs are interpretative. They are interpretative. If a person sings a song today and you fall in love with that song, you fell in love with that song because of two things. Simple, just two things. Number one, either what that person is singing is actually interpreting what is in your heart. It's interpreting what is in your heart. Or else, what that person is singing is describing your experience. So you want to make money. If someone sings about money, you will feel connected to the song because it has revealed your heart. It interprets what's in your heart. So someone saying every day, I'm making money, I'm spending money, and someone pushing wheelbarrow is also singing that song. He's singing that song not because he has money, but that's his desire. That's been given life through lyrics. So he comes into that experience through those lyrics, living in that fantasy world. I was telling my man, I don't take social media serious. Why do you take social media too serious? That's a fantasy world created for those people who want to avoid reality. That's a fantasy world. Oh, you know, this is my platform. I don't post it. That's a rubbish thing. That's a place to help those who cannot face real life to escape reality. That's simple truth. Do you know that's a control mechanism? That's a false world. Everything there can be edited. As I'm black like this, I can look fair on social media. I can look taller there. Is that the world I want to take serious? A stranger that if you slap here, he will fall. He will talk to you anyhow on social media and then you'll be afraid. Or you'll be hot. Why are you hot? Because someone that you don't know from anywhere says an opinion about you. People's validation. These are control mechanisms. There's no man of God who's popular. Because without popularity, Mark Zuckerberg, if he wakes up and shakes his head like this and deletes Facebook. Owner of YouTube deletes. Do you know the church, we are not inventing anything? With the whole money that the church has, nobody has started up something that looks like YouTube. We are taking over the world. Go and check. We're only switching members. We've not started taking over the world. This is the problem. Today I wanted to be calm.